there is a reason you are called a human being and not a human doing. You have to learn how to be. We don't think we are worthy enough to just be. The universe will provide. Something will work out. Whose version of normal am I living?
No,
Is
I
this my
understand.
version? Or is it the version that I'm comfortable with? But is it actually the norm?
Yeah.
Does everybody have to follow it?
True, true.
Is it absolutely foolproof? We don't know. Shararat was a very wholesome family entertainer. When people come and tell me, ma'am, thanks for making my childhood, and I'm like, no. I'm not made your childhood, you perv. I don't know what you were watching. It was not your childhood. I made your child's childhood.
So you need a placard, you
Yes,
know?
yes.
It was your child's childhood,
Yes.
not yours.
The amount of people that are sad because I'm aging, I'm like, bro, I'm having a great time. Just please don't
Please
be
don't
so
be
sad
sad.
on my account.
Shruti, welcome to our podcast. You are an old friend, but most of all, you're the person Kiran and I have grown up adoring. You're the reason of our childhood.
Yes.
The pleasure is all mine. You know, it's not just the two of you, this whole country, pretty much every single person, irrespective of what they look like, what their
Right.
real age is, everyone has grown up watching me.
Shruti, next time you should ask them for a birth certificate.
I will. I really
No,
will.
but Shruti, listen, I'm going to ask you to rewind this a bit. You were just telling us. So whenever you're outside somewhere,
So, you know, here's the thing. I'm very grateful that I got a chance to be a part of an iconic show like Shararat.
right,
And
which was
The
in
thing is-
2000 and
2003.
yeah.
So number one, when people tell me, ma'am, thank you for making the 90s magical, I'm like, bro, it was in your
Okay.
So
Then,
the 90s aren't my jam. I did nothing in the 90s
okay.
except enjoy my own
Childhood.
My own childhood, exactly.
Then,
But the thing is, because Shararat was, you know, such a wholesome family show, and I remember a lot of
how
people,
old were you at the time?
So weirdly, I was 25 when I shot it.
Okay.
And
Huh.
it was funny because Zarina Mehta, who
Huh.
was the producer of the show, one day very sweetly and innocently came and asked me, darling, I hope you're not missing college because of the shoots.
Lovely.
And I was like, oh, Zarina, I kind of graduated 5 years ago.
But you know, you have that kind of a face, so I get that.
Thank
Which
you.
is why I don't understand when grown ass men are coming to you.
It's not
and telling you,
grown
"Thank-
ass men.
thank you for making a
It's
childhood."
not grown ass
It's
men. It is
Vruddhashram.
geriatric males.
Okay.
Literally. And they come
Literally.
and tell you,
And I don't know if I'm such a phenomenal actor that I'm able to mask my utter shock and
Huh.
disbelief. But when people come and tell me, ma'am, thanks for making my childhood, and I'm like, no. I'm not made your childhood, you perv. I don't know what you were watching. But I swear, I have like people who are 50, 60, 70 plus who come and tell me they've seen me in their childhood when I'm 47. I'm like, how has this happened? But when I have tried to examine it, the thing is that because, like I said earlier, that Shararat was a very wholesome family entertainer.
huh.
And a lot of people used to watch it as family viewing.
Oh,
It was essentially a kid show, but
Right.
because there was Farida Jalal and there was this relationship between her and my father, and you know, it was about a family. Everyone who has watched the show because of their children have somehow assumed that it was in their childhood. But I'm
Oh,
like,
I see.
no, it was not your childhood. I made your child's childhood.
So you need a placard, you know?
Yes, yes.
It was your child's childhood,
Yes.
not yours.
but actually,
The
my
moment
kids
they
were
say that.
watching you.
See?
That Karan
Yeah.
and
Now,
Kabir
when
show
you
they
turn
were
around and say,
watching.
Yeah.
I grew up watching you, your children grew up watching me,
I
you were
know.
just witnessing their growing up. You-
It was a sweet life of...
that was the
Karan and
next show,
Kabir.
which happened much later, which was in the year 2012, 2013.
Hmm.
Again, I know I have not grown these people up who claim that I made their childhood. But this is not one of the only embarrassing things that I hear about myself.
What are the
Like I
other?
was telling you all earlier, there's something very wonderful about people who love to use the little moment that they have in their very brief interaction with someone they
To
recognize
purge. Huh.
to say, how do I fill the silence?
Right.
Because it's so we can't just stare at a person like
Right.
that, right?
Right.
So I must say something. So they'll just use whatever words are filling their heads. And I have people who will come and tell me, ma'am, आप मेकअप के बिना अच्छी लगती हैं. And I'm
Really.
always like, are you trying to tell me I'm not looking nice with makeup? All things like, ma'am, आप makeup के साथ बिल्कुल नहीं अच्छी लगती.
You can't
like-
win.
I said, are you telling me I don't look nice on screen? And
Listen, Indians say the weirdest thing.
but here's the other one. Ma'am, आपने शादी, आपका बच्चा है, आपने अपने आप को इतनी अच्छी तरह से मेंटेन किया है. हमने मैं टैंक हूँ क्या? मेंटेन किया है. What is the
Maintain-
meaning of that?
This word maintain is like chronic.
Yeah, like it's a
pandemic.
vintage car.
And now, here is the funniest thing. So, all these geriatric men who I have grown up, and then the actual children who watched Shararat in early 2000
Whom the
have now
geriatric men have
probably
grown up. Yeah.
and become whatever 30-year-olds or 25-year-olds. Their standard message to me is, "Ma'am, it is so sad to see your favorite actor aging."
Ahi.
No.
And I'm like,
No way.
No.
a lot.
Are you serious?
A lot. The amount of people that are sad because I'm aging, I'm like, bro, I'm having a great time. Just please don't
Please
be
don't
so
be
sad
sad.
on my account. But that is.
But
they
listen,
send
I
that.
always say this, that I'm quite broken deep within because of the way Hugh Grant is aging.
Oh,
I mean, he's
you know what? The point is, I want to look like Hugh Grant, even when I'm aging. And I want to be like him, more importantly, his
I love
persona. Just to be able to speak your mind.
Mind. I know.
That is.
Brilliantly.
I think that's the
remember
one.
the gratitude journal.
It was like, don't be absurd.
Don't be absurd. You keep a gratitude journal. Don't
And
be
about the
absurd.
backpacks.
Timothy Chalamet's face.
Yes, and he also said, "Why does everyone have their water bottle? Like, isn't there water everywhere? Why are people carrying water bottles
In the backpack. That's his
in their backpacks?"
backpack. Yeah.
But I think the nicest thing about aging is the fact that you can
Speak your
actually
mind.
speak your mind with impunity. Say, कर लो जो कर रहा है, उखाड़ लो. आप क्या करोगे? But the number of people that have messaged me on Instagram all the time, "We are so sad, ma'am. You are aging."
What do you
We are
reply
so
But
to
isn't
them?
your
What do you
ultimate
say
pet
back?
peeve?
I'm like, when you firstly, did you go to science class? Like that's my standard question. That यहाँ पर किसी ने evolution तो पढ़ी नहीं है, क्योंकि कौन hyperbaric chamber में बैठ के उतने ही साल का लग सकता है. I said, मैं क्या करूँ? What should I do? Please tell me. How can I assuage all your sadness? What do you think I should do? It is such a pointless statement because there's nothing to go. There's no comeback. I'm like, okay, bro, I'm sorry.
Did all of
I
this
apologize for aging.
Did all of this push you into going and learning psychology
For
and
my
become-
own mental health, yes.
Tell us about that. What made you
the
pivot?
switch? Yeah.
Yeah.
So to be honest, it came from I finished my graduation and went straight into a job and then into modeling and then acting. And next thing I knew, I had a career. And for some reason, I think back then I was actually very keen to pursue academics, but for some reason, life had other plans. So in 2020, when the pandemic happened, I said, okay, now, we were told, sorry, actors, stay at home. No one wants you all. Okay, we'll call you when we need you. Let's just get the world back in order. So I said, okay, this might just be an opportune moment because everything that I wanted to study suddenly went online. So a lot of things that were holding me back, which is probably having to go full time to an institution or travel or go abroad or whatever it was, everything literally, all courses were online. And one had ample time. So I said, okay, maybe this is my chance. So out of just sheer curiosity to fill my days,
Empty hours, yeah.
I started doing courses which were, in some way, they looked like they were fueling my curiosity. And I always wanted to know something about happiness. I don't know why. That, we're all kind of sold this idea of when you'll buy this, when you'll go there, when you'll do this, you'll be happy. But somehow you do it and then it's there for a very short period and then you're kind of craving something again. So this happiness is clearly a bit of a con job. So the first course that I did was something from the happiness lab at Yale University called the Science of Wellbeing, which essentially explained a lot of brain chemistry to me, which said that your brain has something called hedonistic adaptation,
Okay.
which means anything that is hedonistic in nature, the brain adapts to it very quickly. Which is why, for example, you buy yourself something fancy. You crave it like your life depends on it. And you do everything to get it. And then when you do in that moment, you're like, wow, I got this. But after like 3 days,
Fizzles
5
out,
days,
yeah.
you're like, okay, done.
Nowadays,
Next.
not even 3 days, 5 days.
It's the next
Exactly,
reel. Now there's the
exactly.
next reel that you'll see of some influencer.
Exactly.
Mm.
So all you're doing is constantly craving,
Yeah.
hoping that when you get it, it will give you happiness.
Yep.
But it doesn't. And that's what got me saying, okay, I want to try and understand this. I did that course. I said, okay, this is interesting. It kind of piqued my curiosity a little more. I always wanted to do psychology when I was in college, but for some reason I did economics and commerce. Don't ask me why.
Yeah.
So Xavier's does a course called, it's just an introduction into counseling to see if you really would want to pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is that at the end of the course, I decided, no, I don't want to do it.
Okay, good.
But the good thing is that it gives you a little bit of a taster of what
Yeah,
counseling actually entails.
Yeah.
And while I was doing counseling, I was doing another course on Buddhist psychology.
Mm.
And I realized that my mental makeup is more adhered to Eastern philosophy as a
Okay.
person. I think maybe it's just us Indians
Yeah.
because we're from the East.
Yeah.
A lot of the conversation that Eastern philosophy talks about is how we are raised, at homes,
Yeah.
the values that we are taught. And the interesting part is that while Western psychology is largely, I would say, it has a lot to do with I, me, myself.
Individualism.
Ego. Yeah, a lot of individualism.
This thing
Ego,
that
yeah.
come to fruit
All
now.
of Eastern philosophy is about community.
Mm,
And it's
mm.
about what can I do for others,
Right.
not just for myself.
Right. Because you're not an isolated.
And we don't
Individual.
realize that our world functions on interdependence,
Of
right?
course.
Mm.
It's the American dream that was sold to us, which is about being individualistic, and we can see what's happening there now.
Mm.
So I studied that, and then Buddhist psychology, very honestly, just turned something on in my brain. And I spoke to my teacher and I said, okay, I want to know what's the next thing I can do. So she actually set me off on this path to study arts-based therapy. And because the whole syllabus is actually designed around Buddhist psychology,
Mm.
and it uses arts-based techniques for people who have difficulty with talk therapy.
Mm.
Mhm.
And in that moment, I said, okay, suddenly something made sense because I realized that maybe I became an actor and I got involved in the arts because this is where I was supposed to finally end up.
Wow.
That's so interesting.
And I had to use it for something other than just entertaining.
Wow.
So I ended up doing a postgraduate diploma in arts-based therapy. And my final sort of my presentation was using arts-based therapy in mindfulness and focus. And I realized it's the one thing that all of us need now,
Of course.
how to make people
that
mindful.
and that is the greatest luxury and wealth now.
Yes,
But
really.
I'm going to interrupt you a bit. You know, everybody in this country suddenly decided to do some training in therapy and they became therapists.
Yes.
And just as you mentioned, the Eastern philosophies versus the West, America is at peak therapy.
Yes.
And America is the place where people are unraveling the most.
Yes.
Okay, it's peak therapy and yet peak psychiatric drugs, peak labeling, everything. Okay, and because we've known you long enough, but we hadn't really gotten into a conversation in depth about what you're doing. One of the questions I was going to ask you today, I remember you mentioning Buddhist
Psychology, yeah.
psychology, was that Indian communities are very different. Indian culture is very different, and all Indian therapists, by and large, are growing up on Western textbooks of therapy and psychology.
Yes.
And then what they're doing is they are applying that on Indian kids and Indian families and Indian couples. And they are teaching us concepts like boundaries from our parents. Children are distancing themselves from parents. They're getting snarkier because and it is really bothersome. And one of the questions I was going to ask you was that, is there no Eastern model of therapy that somebody can start practicing in India?
So here's an interesting thing, Shnali. I'm actually now, hopefully, by the end of this month, I will have gotten my certification in one of the most interesting branches of psychotherapy called choice theory reality therapy. It was founded by Dr. William Glasser. And the whole concept behind choice theory, to summarize it in one sentence, is that the only person whose behavior you can control is your own.
Lovely.
And it's hugely liberating.
Lovely.
Hugely liberating.
Because everybody else is telling you
So the thing
The
is
opposite
that,
in your therapy sessions.
so the thing is that Western psychology works largely on something called external control psychology,
Right.
which is not Western psychology, but I'm talking about the human mind.
Right.
Mm.
We all work from a place of, if my husband would just do this,
Right.
our marriage would be fine. If my kids would just listen to me, it would be so much easier for us. If my friends would just listen to what I have to say, if they could only change this about themselves, if my parents would, we're constantly putting all our happiness in the hands of other people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right? And you're constantly shifting the onus on another person. Whereas the only person whose behavior you can control is your own.
Yours.
And here's the other part, that people only change their behavior when their behavior hurts them.
Themselves.
Mm.
That is the only time. And you can, if you were to sort of rummage through everything that you have done in your own life, you'll realize that the biggest changes in your life happen when you chose to change them. Nobody else could do it.
We've seen that with addicts also. I mean, most
Yes.
glaringly, it's only when they want to make the change. That's
And
when,
that goes for everything. The most basic, banal things will only change when your behavior hurts them, hurts yourself. And when I say that, I mean, for example, in a marriage, right? If, for example, I'm having some sort of discord with my husband, and my behavior may seem glaringly problematic
Mm-hmm.
to another person, a 3rd
Mhm.
person,
Mm-hmm.
till I don't suffer some consequence for my behavior,
Mm-hmm.
there will be no impetus for me to want to change it.
Correct.
Right? So either my husband will have to stage a walkout, or he'll have to threaten me with a divorce, or he may have to say, okay, this is not working for me anymore because your behavior is toxic or it's problematic, or you don't make room for me, or whatever may be the case. Till I don't see that my behavior is now having repercussions that are hurting me, I will not feel the need to change it.
True.
And such is the case even when it comes to child rearing.
Mm.
No matter how much you may try, your children may listen to you out of fear.
Mm.
That is all, nothing else. And authority, and which has been the problem with the way we've been raised.
Yep.
There is-
Yep.
Till today,
Yep, yep.
I have the fear of my
Same.
mother in me, right?
Same.
because I said so was
Because, yeah, I am your parent.
No, I
Plain
mean,
and
that's how
simple.
we were raised.
Yeah.
It worked for them. But a lot of those things were fear-based tactics.
But the point
Punishment
is
and
that
whatever.
what ends up happening is either your child will continue to live in that fear
Mm.
of you
Mm.
and never be able to be their most authentic self,
Mm.
which I think is a disservice to any person,
Right.
right?
Right.
And here's my take, which may be very flawed because I can say it and I don't practice it, to be honest. But it's something I have learned from my husband, that your job as a parent is only and only to create a safe space for your child to be whatever they want to be. That is really the
No. But
the
I have
crux.
a problem with that. That this safe space is what a lot of Western families have done. Okay.
I don't know if they have really. I don't think they have. There's a big. So we assume that they've done this.
But based on what we read and see, either they are too
So this gentle pairrenting is a thing
either
that
they
is
are too
coming in.
withdrawn, either they are too withdrawn, or this gentle parenting thing. And I'll tell you something, Shruti. Irrespective of how, I mean, we all know how our generation was raised.
Yeah.
We were whacked, we were punished, whatever. The way we care for our parents today,
Yeah.
and the way we care for our bonds within our friends and our circle and our families seems to me far more steadier
Yeah.
than what this gentle and tiptoeing around your children and being constantly worried that you will hurt their personality in some ways doing, which is why we are quite resilient, but the generation we've raised is not resilient at all.
100%.
So this
In
gentle
agreement.
parenting is like, I think they're all extremes. I don't.
So here's again, it's weird, but I think I see my parents, and sometimes my mother sits with me and Alina, and I can see she's having a really hard time saying, how is your child talking to you like this?
My mother to straight away says,
Because I
तुमने
wouldn't
बच्चों को
dare.
छूट दी हुई है, she tells me. तुमने बच्चों को छूट दी हुई है, and they can talk to you like this.
So the funny thing is, now here's something that I feel, while I love my mother, as do you love your parents, and you love your parents, and all of us love, our elders. We've shown the kind of respect that we were taught to and sort of imbibed with. Having said that, there are times when I'm just a little shocked when I let Alina talk to me the way she does, and I let her do it.
Mhm.
I allow it
Mhm.
because I'm the only person who will let her. She will have to put up a pretense outside.
Mhm.
And the the terminology that one learns in choice theory, reality therapy is friendly but firm.
Yeah.
But that's a very tight tightrope, very narrow space to
But
navigate.
the thing is, you know what, Kiran? The thing is, when we all talk from this space of, what the hell is going on? Why are our kids talking to us like that?
Yeah.
How dare they? If you actually sat down and checked it in your head, you have to see, okay, what part of my ego is this bruising? And that's when the Buddhist psychology comes in.
I am constantly, including this morning, when I respond, when my kid speaks to me rudely, I know that I'm responding from my ego. However, scripturally, now I'm pivoting a bit, sorry, and sorry for using the word pivot. I was on a flight and these two kids sitting behind me across the aisle, they were from a South Indian family and they were really young. The boy was 9 and his sister was like 6. And the father, father was discussing some mythological character from Mahabharata and quizzing him on it. And why did he do this and why did he say it? And the child was answering. Then when the food came, this was from Zurich to London, so it was a short haul flight. When the food arrived, he didn't want to eat it. So he kept saying, but someone please eat it, because he took a bite and but I don't want to waste it, Papa. But please, so Papa, I said, listen, leave it. It's okay. The horses will take. No, but I don't want to waste it, Papa. And I happened to know the mother. We met at the airport. So I was marveling and I was thinking that whole ethos of raising children on scripture, on mythology, on nannies and daddies, telling them stories, served one purpose, which was that without whacking your kids, you taught them to filial duty, respecting your elders. Okay.
Yeah.
And I understand these stories weren't told so much to teach them about God concept. They were taught to teach them a value system.
Yes.
And in an entertaining, engaging manner. We haven't done that. We failed to do that. While we've had teachers, somebody is coming to teach a child shlokas.
Yeah.
And I also don't remember my Mahabharata. What will I tell somebody? I was confused in between that Bhim was in Mahabharata, Bhim was in Ramayana. Even though I was...
I thank Amar Chitrakathas. I've got my foundations back because of Amar Chitrakathas.
Yeah, but you have to revisit it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So basically, in a long-minded way, what I'm getting at is that whatever has been practiced and kept society sane and kept family structures in place through centuries, okay, it was in Eastern societies. I know there was some repression and all that there, but I think certain amount of checks and balances are essential. Maybe our parents took it to the other extreme, but we are taking it to the other extreme.
So I think, here's again, I'm no expert, but I'm pretty much in the same boat as all other mothers. Yes, the pendulum was swinging to the top where corporal punishment was par for the course.
Correct.
Thappad to padna hi hai. And we keep asking Alina sometimes, just as a joke, I keep telling her when she really tests my patience, I'm like, you make a very good case for bringing corporal punishment back. And when I tell her, I said, I would have got a slap for this, she always looks at me like, what does that mean? Like,
were your parents violent?
Why would you hate somebody? It's just such an alien concept.
It is.
But when you think about it, it is a problem.
No, hitting is a problem.
Right? Punishing is a problem. You
extremely problematic, I understand.
So here's what's
it wasn't
happening.
Problematic to us when we were growing up because it was the
normalized.
It was par for the course. Your friend also
there's
got
another thing. Who decides what's normal? Whenever we ask these questions, I think it's so important to keep checking yourself, saying, whose version of normal am I living?
No,
is this my version? Or is it the version that I'm comfortable with? But is it actually the norm?
Yeah.
Does everybody have to follow it?
True.
Is it absolutely foolproof? We don't know.
True.
So when you keep asking yourself these questions, that is what really kind of, to come back to the first initial question, that's what got me into this whole winded road of saying, okay, I want to study human psychology, is just to understand myself better.
Sure.
So tell me, Shruti, you went from glamour
Yes,
to psychology.
Raising the entire world.
Yeah.
All of India grew up on you.
Pretty much.
Yes. You raised us all. Jagat Mata.
She sounds like Bhishma Pitama.
Jagat Mata ho gayi hai, Shruti. It's very easy to dismiss somebody when you've seen them in a specific, profession and a specific kind of role. And then suddenly you go to something completely different. So did you find people saying...
So, it's so funny you asked me this, Kiran, because when I was doing art space therapy, I was the oldest person in my class. All the other kids were in their 20s, just fresh off either their graduation or their masters or whatever from psychology. And I was the only girl who was in her 40s.
And with no psychology background.
With no psychology background. And I remember everyone would use all these, psychobabble terms, and I'd be totally lost. And I was also going back to formal education after like a 20, 25-year long hiatus. So the way art space therapy was taught was very abstract, very fluid. There was no structure really, as one is used to in formal education. It's very instinctual. And it's weird because I remember talking to my teacher and I said, one day I took him aside. I said, listen, I feel very lost in this class because everybody here is constantly saying these terms and I don't have this background. So I don't know if I'll kind of fumble at the end of this.
Right.
And he said something so wonderful. He said, all these kids, they have all the information. You have the experience. You're the only
Lovely.
mother in this room.
Of course. Yeah.
Lovely.
So when we discuss kids, guess whose opinion I will take?
Yeah.
Yours over theirs. So he was like, don't get so caught up in having bookish knowledge. Please give experience its rightful place on the shelf.
That's lovely. And also,
And when I started talking about my journey, about my highs and lows as an actor, about how blinding the limelight can be, how many people in our industry have ended up harming themselves, taken lives. It takes such a heavy toll on your overall well-being because you're just swinging, right? Your peaks and valleys, your life is just a constant roller coaster. Then the fear of aging, the fear of irrelevance, so many things they consume you. And then if your mind is messed up, it can take you to very dark places. So I feel that when I tell people, I'm not just talking about what I have been qualified to talk about, I'm also talking about real life experiencing. I know what it feels
You've been
like
there.
to feel lost. I've been there. I know what it feels like when you fail. I know what it feels like when you don't get a call and you just keep wondering, is it me? My whole life has been about validation.
I know.
And suddenly it's not there. How am I going to make sense of all of this to myself? So to be able to say that I'm still whole. What I do is just one part of me. My job is just one of the things that I was brought on this planet to do. It is not everything I am. My relationships go much farther than my career or my knowledge or my interests or the things that I have done, the things that I say, the things that I've made other people feel, raised an entire generation. All those things make me whole. So I, on my own, because I also studied so much of it and I saw so much of myself in what I was studying, it gave me a lot of insight, which I can now share with people, not from a place of, being high-handed, saying, मैंने पढ़ाई की,
From a lived
मैंने जिया
experience,
है.
yeah.
I have lived it. So when I tell you that this is normal or it'll pass or it'll get okay or check in with yourself, ask yourself, there's no critical thinking anymore, right? Nobody actually, I keep saying this over and over again that we're being run by an algorithm now.
There's no forget critical. There's no
no thinking. True.
Nobody wants to be bored for a minute. You leave somebody for a minute and they start doing this.
Constant,
So
you
much
need
of our
constant
life
stimulation.
was
Yeah.
waiting at the reception of the doctor's clinic, going by car or bus by train to wherever you were going, within the city. There were so many moments in our life where there was nothing, or at best a book that you would be reading.
Yeah.
Okay? Where you're using your active imagination. These people are scrolling, talking on the phone, typing, texting.
It's non-stop. It's an onslaught.
So is that the reason that in the last couple of years, the younger generation of actors have gone on to take the extreme step? पहले तो इतना नहीं होता था, Kiran, remember?
Yeah, it
In fact,
wasn't.
both of us were talking about
This.
getting you a year ago.
About
Kiran,
this.
what had sparked that?
I think it was Irfan Khan's son having a meltdown.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't see too much. I just saw one video and then it became a thing and I did not want to indulge in it, very
Right.
honestly, because I don't think that there should be a brandishing of someone having
No, not
a
at all. Poor
tough
guy. In
moment,
fact,
yeah?
in
No,
fact,
he was very troubled.
we are coming at it from a place of empathy and not from sensationalizing and.
No, so I'm saying I don't know what caused it,
Huh.
what he was discussing. I don't know the
I think he was
details
just
of
talking
it.
about being overlooked as an actor.
But I think, you know what, honestly, Shonali, I feel what's really happening and I'm saying this for all of us as a sweeping statement. The problem is we don't know whose lives we're living. We really don't know. I say this to so many people. If you ask people, what do you want? 99% people don't know the answer to that question. What do you want? Nobody knows. Okay. What do you want? Maybe a lot of money. Okay.
Fame and money.
Fame and money.
What's with that? Everybody wants fame and money.
To be an influencer.
Yes.
That's the only goal for most people.
No. Now people don't want to be influencers.
No?
No. Now the young kids are saying, I want a lot of money to live a life like this and to...
My daughter is very clear that you guys will have to provide for me. So my husband and I are like, no. Like, forget us giving you. We were hoping we could live off you.
Let's get this clear. Let's get this clear right now.
But here's what's happening. And I have a problem with it, but this is entirely my personal issue with it. I feel that all of us are just being reduced to a valuation, right?
How many followers?
Everything is a valuation.
Yeah.
I don't want to know, Kiran, what are the things that make you truly happy? I don't care. Kiran, how many followers do you have? Right?
Yeah.
Or what is your podcast worth? Or like, what, you know, who are the guys who are showing it? Everything is an evaluation of us as people now. So the other day, I saw something very ghastly on Instagram, and I'm really considering my own life choices. I don't know why I even watched it. Because there was a whole breakdown of somebody's wardrobe, of what they were wearing and what each thing cost. And I just found it so tasteless.
Somebody else was evaluating, or they were themselves telling you?
No. But some people are evaluating themselves also. But this person was...
We know some of those.
Evaluating somebody else, another actor's outfit. Saying this is what he was wearing. This is how much his shirt
peak
cost.
Consumer culture, na?
This is how much his trouser. That's how much his bag cost. Basically, his total, this thing, he was worth these many crores.
Disgusting.
But that's going on for a while now.
I was just like, what is the purpose of this? Like, what? How is this supposed to benefit anybody on the planet?
I'll tell you something.
Other than making them feel that they are not good enough.
That's it.
And
Aspire
I think
to buy
that is such a shit ethos for anything.
Even now, this Cristiano Ronaldo is marrying his longtime partner. And then there was this big thing about her necklaces worth this much. She was wearing one major necklace, and her bracelet is worth this much, and her watches are worth this much. And see, we are now discerning enough to say that this is grossing me out. We talk when
but we are in a minority, aren't we?
We're a minority. Now think about your daughter when she's 16, 17. If she's looking at this.
11, I can tell you. And you know, I have a huge problem with her being on YouTube, even though we're very strict, and I'm like an annoying hawk mother who's just like too many hours, too many.
Yeah.
But that's
I still do it.
But it reaches her somehow.
I do it with my 17-year-old.
And I had to sit her down one day and tell her, darling, I want you to understand one thing. That whatever it is that someone is trying to sell to you, they're making money off of it. Okay? Please understand, it is not being done from a place of well-being for you.
Yep.
They're earning money by pushing a product. They're advertising a product to you. And what they're doing is that they are trying to attach your self-worth to that product.
True.
So please be aware of it. You're being played. You want to see it because, oh yeah, this thing is pretty or this thing is fun and yeah, okay, I would like it. Not just don't attach your value to it. That's it. Your self-worth does not increase or decrease by the things that you have. And there was a time in our lives, we all grew up in a much younger India.
Yeah.
Where we didn't have access to so many things.
Your India was younger than ours. We did grow up in the same India.
I want to use some expletives, but I won't. So the point is that I remember I used to have an aunt who you know, Ron auntie, who was flying for Air India, and all my most prized possessions would be brought for me on her flights back. But every one thing that came, I had to make it survive for a year.
Of course.
Maybe
it meant
2 years.
So much, right?
And
so
God
precious.
forbid I broke a ruler, I had to sellotape it and use it.
Yeah.
But the joy we got from those things
My
was
God, the
incredible.
joy was something else. Listen,
But
today,
now, I don't know if Alina knows how many rulers are in her house.
Of
I think
course.
every dabba has one ruler.
listen, every year, there's so much stuff that we pull out. Unworn t-shirts, tops, and this is when I'm still...
and this is our fault.
I've raised them. No. And I'm saying this is when I am one of the more cautious mothers.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a friend of mine, and we were on a holiday, and her kid was with us, lovely child, and her child was buying YSL shoes, tributes, and saying, "Auntie, I got a great deal at Bista Village," and she bought like some branded bags from there. And I was just looking at my daughter; they're very good friends, and I was thinking that she's not getting any of this, so. In a whole year, she'll save up and get that one small thing that she wants of her choice, right? So then I was talking to my friend about it. I said, listen, it's very nice that you're so extravagant with your kid, but how does it work out for you? She said, Arey yaar, if we won't pamper, who will pamper? Now, that is one way of reaching your child. I really am not passing judgment on that. I admired the fact that my kid did not turn back and say,
Can I have it too?
Can I have it too?
Yeah.
And she was like, can I go to Urban Outfitters and get myself a top from there, which is what I wanted. But I'm just saying, everyone has so much, and kids are
Also, we have
seeing
less
it.
children
And
now.
I, despite being cautious with my kids, I find that they have too much of everything. So when Nani says, what can I give them for their birthday? I'm thinking, I don't know what you can give them. This is from the time they're very small. That'll really make them feel like if somebody gave me 2 books for my birthday, I has to be thrilled. I got these 2 books. I
Yeah.
got this top. I got this dress.
And those scented rubbers.
Yeah.
Such heaven. I still remember
I
the joy from the scented
I
rubbers.
threw away these many
So the
erasers from my
thing-
daughter's cupboard the other day.
But what I'm saying is that the problem now is
Too
number
much.
one, all of us don't know whose lives we're living. We're living as per an algorithm telling us
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you must do this, you must do this. What is really important right now is to spend time alone, asking yourself, am I living the life I want? Am I aligned with the things that I do? And something really wonderful happened this year. I was telling y'all I had a very severe back injury. And I went through the motions for 3 months. I was laid up in bed in excruciating pain. And in that time, obviously, I couldn't go to work.
Mm.
I had to very consciously say no to anything. Luckily, God's work, I know work came. So I was like, okay, the timing of this is fantastic. Mujhe temptation hi nahi ho raha hai. But what really happened is that most of us live in a productivity crisis, right? I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
All of us have it.
We panic.
I-
We panic if we're not
मैं
doing
कुछ नहीं
anything.
करी हूँ, मैं कुछ नहीं
हाँ.
करी हूँ.
I wasted the whole day.
चलो मैं एक पोस्ट ही डाल देती हूँ. चलो
हाँ.
मैं एक story डाल देती हूँ. At least
Oh
I
my
feel
God.
like I did something.
You
I
are
put
so
something out
Yeah.
there in the world,
My
right?
God,
Yeah.
yes.
But there is something lovely that I learned from my mindfulness course, which is that there is a reason you are called a human being and not a human doing. You have to learn how to be.
Oh, that's
We don't think we are worthy enough to just be. The universe will provide. Something will work out. Maybe you've done enough and now enjoy the spoils of what has come your way. Or maybe nothing seems to be working out because it's nature's way of telling you, you need to rest. You need to just slow down. You don't need to constantly be on a hamster wheel.
but this,
And that's
But
what
people want
happened to
stay
me.
So bubble, we were talking about bubble. Sorry, we all digressed
Yeah.
a bit from there. So you were saying that all these actors who are unraveling,
Yeah.
let's not take names, and some are taking the extreme step. That is coming from overwork, not getting enough validation.
I think it's coming from a place that we don't know what we set out to do.
okay.
And then someone else has been slapping these sort of paradigms on us, saying this is what your life should look like. You should be worth this much money by the time you're this many years old. इतने brands तो होने चाहिए, इतना घर तो होना चाहिए, यहाँ holidays तो करनी ही पड़ेंगी, business class तो fly ही करना चाहिए. But is it what I really want? Does it really like
But
you know?
they think now you're taught to want that.
No, but that's what. So,
So
the
you
thing
need
is,
silence to know what you want.
you have to keep asking yourself, and when will you get time to check in with yourself? Is when you shut the door on all the noise outside.
So 5 things. Give us 5 points, like bullet points, on what people can do
to shut the door.
to keep the sanity.
Number one, learn how to spend some time alone without anything, not a book. So, one of the first jobs that you were taught as an art-based therapy practitioner, every day we had to keep a journal. Every day you had to just sit. There
For
was
how
there was
long?
an activity.
For how long?
You had to start with 5 minutes. Just sit. Try and do it. It is the hardest thing.
They call
If
it
I tell you just sit now, let's just 3 of us just sit for 2 minutes.
that's raw dogging.
Just don't talk anything. Just be quiet and let's seriously, we can clock it. Let's clock this for 2 minutes and see what happens. I'm doing it with you guys real time.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Are you clocking it?
Can someone just clock us for 2 minutes? Okay.
2 minutes later.
You know, the 2-minute
Wow.
plank is easier.
Didn't it feel like so much longer than 2 minutes?
But it was amazing.
You see how time expands when you spend it in silence.
You must fast forward this bit,
Yeah,
hyperlapse it,
yeah.
and keep showing Kiran constantly doing this and doing like this to you. You know what? I was trying to meditate the other day. I've joined a meditation group at 8:30. They drop you a message that for as long as you can between 8:39, meditate, do it. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, it's fine. Whether you're at a party, car, just go silent for 2 minutes. So I said, okay, chalo, I'll meditate. I thought 25 minutes would have passed. I saw my watch. 8 minutes had passed. I was sitting in my car going to town for a wedding. 8 minutes felt like an eternity.
So that's your first thing to do every day. Can you
do
see
it?
what it?
Do you do it?
We had to build up. So you
But do you
start.
do it now?
Yeah.
For how long
Every
do you do
day?
like this?
I do it multiple times in the day, which is an
2
easy.
minutes?
No, I can go up to like 15 minutes.
Wow. 15
just sit.
minutes.
Of just sitting.
No
Wow.
talk, eat, drink, phone, watch.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And you
This
get-
I can do. Meditation I can't do. This
But
I can do.
Can I tell you? Okay, so here's another thing. To just break down meditation for people, mindfulness meditation, which is what I trained to do as a teacher. The moment you tell people meditation, they imagine, acha, you're sitting in samadhi, in silence, quietly, with no thoughts.
Watching
oh
your
my
breath.
God. Yeah, I'm so zen. No.
No, the mind
If you
is in
can
turmoil.
if you can pay attention to one thing purposefully,
Yeah.
for an extended period of time without judging it,
Does that
you are
include,
meditating.
Does that include writing or
Yeah.
reading?
Yeah. These are all informal meditations. So whether it's taking a shower, something as simple as taking a shower, right? Can I just be present in my bath? Oh, I'm really liking the texture of the soap. I'm enjoying the scent of the shower. The water temperature is so lovely. Can you see how much of our life happens on autopilot? We don't even realize what all
Yeah,
we do.
yeah. But during a shower, I'm constantly thinking that I need to say this, I need to do this, I need to call this one.
You're constantly saying, Acha, oh, should I have to message that? Oh, I have to do this. Just be in the
The
shower.
green tea ceremony is about this only, na?
Just do one thing for an extended period of time.
I can
with
arrange flowers like
all
that.
Your
The
attention.
one thing that doesn't distract me when I'm doing is when I'm with flowers.
So that's what I'm saying. It could be anything.
Slightly expensive way of meditating.
You can get fake flowers and keep rearranging the bouquet.
No, she'd want the fancy ones.
Get fake flowers and keep
I want the
rearranging.
hydrangeas.
But
and the
you know,
tulips.
when you think about it, flower arrangement is a meditation.
Meditation.
It's a proper job, right? People do it as an activity.
Yeah.
In Japan, it's actually an
Yeah,
activity.
ikebana.
So the idea of just arranging flowers, the problem is anything that requires sustained attention now is it's like it's a punishment.
Actually, my daughter, who lives overseas, I mean, she was studying and now she's working. She used to get hyper very easily. And now she has started painting with watercolors. And I've seen her do this with such discipline no matter where she is. Her art book comes out and she starts doing it.
Kiran
And-
used to do it. Kiran was such a lovely,
I know
is
what happened to
such a
that,
lovely
Kiran. I
artist.
remember.
Long story, sometime later. Not
But
the
such
first.
stunning work, Kiran. Such
Yeah, I
stunning
think that
work.
we all need to find stuff to do.
Yeah.
So here's me again coming back.
Even
That
the
was, my
mandalas,
that was
mandala.
my 5-minute meditation every day.
So here's the thing coming back to if you must do something like that.
Yeah.
Where
Art.
there is no outcome, there is no glory, there is no monetary gain. It is purely done just for you and your senses.
But if I don't enjoy art like
do
drawing,
something else.
you're saying
You'll
that-
find something. The fact that people don't know what they enjoy
ironing.
is such.
I find ironing very nice.
Do it.
Yeah, or organizing. People love to
I
organize.
hate
like a,
organizing.
But
Ironing.
I'm saying, see, the problem is that we have gotten so used to, and it's not so much for us. My poor child doesn't know what to do with herself.
yeah.
She doesn't know what to do with herself.
Imagine if you take the Wi-Fi and the gadgets away, bichare,
Luckily for us, she is a voracious reader. So if I keep a gadget and a book, she'll still take the book,
book.
which for us is
Amazing.
You're
a.
lucky.
You're lucky.
So she can sit for hours
Yeah.
and reread books, and she reads a book a day. And when I'm saying a book, it's
That's
a 400-page book. And it's an expensive hobby for us.
Yeah.
And Danish is
No.
always like, should we move to digital? I said, no.
No,
let's-
I'm taking weeks to finish a book.
No.
She reads a
this-
book a day, sometimes 2 books in a day.
Amazing.
See, that's a wonderfully expensive hobby to have, but it's a wonderful hobby nonetheless.
That expense is better than saying
Please.
these
If
are
she
the
wanted
5
a bag,
watches.
yes,
Yeah.
Listen,
exactly.
real adult women are posting a picture. People in other kind of good professions are posting a picture of attaching a story to it, no doubt.
No, I was just saying it's who do you want to witness your life? Are you the witness of your own life, or do you want the world to witness your life? I
And-
think once you get that clarity, that makes things a little
And
easier.
the problem is that when you, again, coming back to the whole thing of external control, if I start letting other people hold the remote control to my life, I'm in for disaster.
Which actually brings us to what we wanted to speak to you about.
Yeah.
This entire thing about AI coming in as companions, as therapy, as, just a sounding board for people. It is convenient. It is nice. It is lovely for people who don't have access. Therapy is expensive. What is your take on it?
I have to say, I always tread carefully with embracing technology. I eventually do, but I'm not one of the first guys to take to it. My husband's hugely into tech. He's a real believer, and he thinks that the world is a much better place because of technology, which is true. We have advanced, but I'm a more tactile, more analog person per se. Having said that, I really feel, and I've had this conversation with the last time I was talking to someone, they were sitting there and trying to demonize social media, which I have to say has earned its place in that bracket.
Yeah, it deserves to be demonized.
But I keep trying to, and this is what I'm hoping to do now with whatever knowledge I have gained, is to say, I want people to start claiming back their power. I think we've all given our power away to so many things.
Lovely.
I really think we have forgotten what we are capable of as people, because we're constantly leaning on something else. And convenience is the root cause of most problems, because it's so convenient. Everything is just so convenient.
That's what it is.
Here's something. I spoke to a boy who's a friend's son who said something wonderful to me. He's creating and working with AI right now. And he said that my biggest roadmap, or rather my guardrails for AI, is that I want to work with AI so that it can do my laundry, so that I can create art,
Yeah.
and not let AI create art so that I'm doing laundry.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I read this somewhere recently as
So
well.
he told me, I don't know whose quote it is, but he said that to me, and I thought it was such a wonderful
Yeah,
thought to
it is.
constantly carry in your head.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, yes, by all means,
Yeah.
I would like
All the menial
convenience.
stuff, let it do, so we can focus our energies in creative.
But what happens is that convenience slowly sort of reins you in, and then it ties you up in knots.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I can't move, because now guess what? The algorithm is going to tell me what I can and cannot do, should not do. Which is why I feel if we all started spending some more time with ourselves alone, because nobody knows you like you do. Nobody knows you
But
the
people
way
don't
you
know themselves.
There's an
only now,
epidemic
no?
of loneliness out there. Shruti.
100%,
People are
Kiran.
looking for companions in AI.
Because here's the thing, right? See, firstly, number one, there's
It's
so much
convenient, na,
shame,
again.
so much guilt, so much work is attached to dealing with another human being,
relationship,
right?
yeah.
I can feed the AI to tell me all the things I want to hear that my partner
We
will
said
never
that.
say to
So
me.
We did
Yeah.
this, recorded an episode recently where this was, you're creating another version of you, like a yes man.
Or
Who'll just
no,
massage your
or not
ego.
just that, Shanali, simple things. For example, I'm in a relationship, or my mother is not as nurturing as I would like her to be, or my sister hasn't been the kind of person or my partner doesn't say the right things. Now I can teach AI to tell me all the right things, and they may not necessarily be ego massages. They may just be the emotional thing
That
I
you
want to
seek, that
hear,
you're seeking.
right?
Yeah.
So if I want to hear it and I have a way of getting it now, why not? Is your thought process.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, if I am going to tailor make a world for my child and say everything will work as per your desire, I'm only stealing them of resilience, because life is going to keep on throwing curveballs at us. Planes fall out of skies now. To be honest, I don't think I've seen this many natural disasters in such quick succession as we have this year.
This year's
This
been
year's been
intense.
one.
This year's been something.
So I'm saying,
Even astrologically, they had predicted.
if
by
you
the
are
way.
not teaching your children the art of stumbling and standing up again, you're stealing them of a very essential
But that
commodity.
conscious parenting is in our default parenting. So you need to be a conscious parent. Like you need to educate yourself. And
But all of this will all come from checking in with yourself, which is what I'm constantly circling back to, that we have all the answers. We just don't want to spend time to hear it because it actually takes time.
Acha, but interestingly, there's also a great trend now of everyone finding a spiritual practice to keep their sanity.
Yeah.
People today are turning to religion or spirituality or yoga or meditation in larger numbers than they ever did before.
Yeah.
So I think that everything does come a full circle, and there's this upheaval in our emotions and in our minds right now. And hopefully there will be solutions that will emerge from this.
So
There will be collateral damage along the way.
So here's what's happening. And again, this is entirely my perception of it. I may be wrong. I feel that 90% of people don't know what the hell is happening. 90%. They don't know where they're going. They don't know why they're running the races they are. They don't even know where the end of the race is. And I've had this conversation with people saying, where would you like to go on your holiday next? Maldives. Acha, why you want to go to Maldives? नहीं, वो तो सब जा रहे हैं ना Maldives. I said, अच्छा, तो आपको snorkeling करना है, आपको deep sea diving है. नहीं, मुझे तो पानी से बहुत डर लगता है.
तो फिर Maldives क्यों जा रहे हो?
पर मैंने तो ये सोचा ही नहीं ना. I haven't thought it through because the algorithm has told me that Maldives should be my next holiday destination, so I can brandish those photographs to get acceptance from my friends.
True.
And that is pretty much, if you extrapolate it, that's what's happening to your entire life. We're all going to Maldives when we're scared of water.
You should just get AI to make the Maldives photographs.
Kiran, remember, Kiran and I have this thing. We keep forwarding each other DM में photos ever since our podcast started of naked girls parading in front of Indian photographers. I'm talking about Indian girls.
Near naked girls. Let's be
near naked, leaving very little to imagination. Okay, near naked is also too dignified an explanation.
There's a rash of them out there.
Okay, so so she'll DM me, then I'll DM her, and then we'll talk to each other. Say, are their parents dead? Okay, do they have no parents? Do they have no shame? And
y'all are talking like aunties right now.
Just totally aunties when it comes to this.
I mean, I'm going to urge our producers to show some of these images. We can mask the faces because we don't want to give them more publicity. But what's happening? People want that kind of fame that they're stripping. Are their families okay with it?
So here's the thing.
This is India, man.
Again, like I said, you know what the thing is, that we all want to get somewhere. Why we want to get there, we don't know. We want the quickest route there. It is, and what I was telling you earlier, that if there are two paths to a particular place, I want to take the path of least resistance.
Correct.
Right? पढ़ाई लिखाई कौन करेगा भाई?
कपड़े उतार लो.
What is the quickest and easiest route to get there?
To strip.
Whatever it is.
Cameraman will.
मुझे जो भी करना, I will. If you see Instagram and you see the kind of videos sometimes, and I have a friend, and she and I have been constantly having some sort of crisis saying, dude, this is not our world. And that is something that I recognized in this last year, which I was telling you all about when I was sick, is that I kept thinking there was so much dissonance in my life. Because I was not feeling, something was not feeling right. And I said, I am trying to fit myself into a place I don't belong. And just because everyone is there, I don't have to go there. What will it cost me? Okay, a little irrelevance, I'll live with it. Can I live with it?
That's the question.
A difficult thing.
Can I live with it? If I can't, then I need to do some more introspection. I need to see, where did I lose myself in all this madness? Because there will come a time when it will all crumble. It is an illusion, all of it.
Why is irrelevance so frightening for people?
Because like I said, Kiran, everyone wants to be witnessed. And is my life worth something?
You feel that you'll be lonely, you'll be left without
is my life, if
friends?
No,
Not friends
it's not even friends.
Then what is it?
It is this, that if I have lived a life that no one knows about, then did I actually live that life? Did it actually matter? I must tell everybody my watch is a Rolex. I have to tell them so they know that I'm worth that much money that I can afford a Rolex. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people who have never gotten onto social media. Nobody knows what they're up to. They live secret lives. And I really feel that right now, invisibility is a superpower.
Listen, I nearly died today. I was getting my hair done. And this guy, he's very new. He's come to me for the second time to do my hair.
She just rose it. I nearly died today. What is
Listen, you know, this is a new chap. It's not like he's some old salon guy who knows me well. He says, last time तो आप आपके बहुत दोस्तों को मिले ना जब मैंने आपके बाल किए थे तो मैंने Instagram पे देखा था.
They're following.
Now, I had my school moms over for lunch, and my hair is very frizzy and all, so let me look a little decent. He did my hair quickly and left. And first time he's seen me, and today's the second time. And somebody posted a thank you thing. Now, this is the other thing that happens. You can thank people on WhatsApp, but it's become a trend. So somebody will do a post saying, thank you for this lunch finale.
Yeah.
If I do not repost that, I've actually, not this time, but in the past, I've had DMs. Kisi ka birthday, somebody wishes you birthday, you haven't reposted, people are taking offense. Like, you don't want to be seen as our friend sort of a thing, okay? So,
Which may not be very far from the truth.
Can't you take a hint?
Shonali really wants to say, oh no, was I that transparent?
but it's true. So I don't know how it became a trend that if someone wishes you birthday on Instagram, then you repost
You
it.
have to repost it.
So this 1 year I didn't repost and I got a lot of DM. Then I said, forget it. It's too much work to explain individually. I'll repost. So the other day I didn't want to repost this thank you for this lovely lunch post. But I was just like, these are school moms. They're really sweet. They came to my house. Let me repost it because I don't want to get into explaining why I don't feel like
They're
sharing
going to
it.
be watching the podcast.
No. So it's not about them. What I'm trying to say is the minute someone thanks you or wishes you, you tend to repost it automatically. So I automatically reposted and I did hesitate a bit. Then I said, no, they'll think it's rude. Someone has tagged me to thank me and I haven't reposted. It's like not acknowledging it. And my hairdresser is saying, aapke ghar to lunch tha na us din.
But can I tell you, this entire thing that has
I want
happened.
to stop this reposting now.
No, I'm saying this whole thing that
This
you just
birthday-
told us about. If you actually examine it, it has been an entire internal dialogue, which nobody said anything to you. You have imagined if I don't do this, this might happen, that'll happen. Can you see how many stories we tell ourselves?
The bell jar is happening live in our head.
Yeah.
Right?
But can I tell you? Do you know how much of it is here? It's not actually happening.
And how much mind space you're wasting.
How
thinking
much
about it.
we just there's a beautiful book that I've read which I will recommend to everyone
Called?
by someone called Pema Chodron, who's a Buddhist
mm.
psychologist, a Buddhist monk, called When Things Fall Apart.
Yeah.
It's a life-changing book.
Really?
And there is one line in the book where she says the hardest times are the ones we give ourselves. And I think nothing could be truer.
Oh, wow.
We
lovely.
give ourselves the hardest times.
What a lovely line, huh?
And genuinely, when you start understanding, is this really happening? Or is it what I am perceiving or what I'm imagining? Or this is my version? And which is what keeps bringing me back saying, please claim back your power. The fact that we all sit now and deliberate about what should happen on Instagram, that's not where we were born. That is not what made us.
True.
We made it. So let's keep it there.
True.
But we've allowed it to take over us. And now all our life decisions are being governed by how will we be perceived on Instagram.
Yeah. Somebody will be
I
hurt,
don't
somebody will
care
be rude, somebody
if
will
my friends want to judge me because of what I do on Instagram, then they're not my friends. And then if I'm not able to see that, then I'm going to suffer the consequence of having fickle, false friendships.
True.
You know, I actually nowadays, I don't know whether this is relevant to the conversation or not. When I don't click a picture when I meet a friend and I don't post it, then I feel that's like a real friendship.
None of my interactions with and I'm saying this without, it's not even bragging. I swear, when I hang out with friends of mine who I have known pre-Instagram, we spend hours. There is not 1 minute that we feel, acha, ek photo le le. Not for 1 minute, because that time is so precious for us that I don't want to waste it thinking of एक selfie लेते and then all you're doing is saying, अच्छा एक और ले लेते. No,
ये
this is
ठीक
not
नहीं है.
nice.
नहीं,
इससे भी
नहीं.
कहते हैं, you spend half your time.
Listen, I
just
did a reel about that. Okay. I was like, the minute you go to a party, you're not even asking each other how you are. You're like, let's take a picture. And these are people you're meeting routinely.
I have
It's
to
not like you've gone to the Taj Mahal together.
I have to tell you a very funny instance. So a friend of mine who's an actor went for someone's wedding. Okay. Now, obviously he's an actor, so everybody kind of wanted a picture with him. He was up on the stage with the bride and groom. With the bride and groom.
Okay.
Were the actual stars of the event.
Right.
Someone from the family came and said, "Aapke saath ek selfie milegi." So he was obviously caught a little off guard, saying, yeah, but we'll take it down. No, yahi lete hain. So he was like, okay, man, whatever. So the bride and groom are standing behind him. This person is trying to take a picture with him. So he's like, okay. The guy's like, aap lijiye. You see, main hu. Firstly, he's been caught off guard.
No.
On the
They
stage.
don't want a picture with him.
No. They want the picture, but they want him to take
Him
it.
to click it.
Selfie.
हाँ, आप लो.
Like he's clicking a selfie with them.
Wait, but this is not the end of it.
Wow.
So-
that is some audacity.
So he's like,
Wow.
okay. So he took the phone. This guy is stuck to him. The bride and groom are standing at the back awkwardly while he's taking a picture.
Maybe you stole
He's taken the picture and he's handed over and said, okay, now, अच्छा नहीं लिया एक और लो.
Listen, no wonder Jaya Bachchan lost it. Remember?
I don't blame her.
I didn't blame her even then. I got it.
He was like, how shameful and how obnoxious have we become as people?
Tell us later who's this actor. Yeah.
We become such an obnoxious bunch of people. that
Actually,
we don't have
Tamiz now.
basic social graces. You're at someone's freaking wedding. You're on their stage. There's a line of people waiting to meet the bride and groom. You have jumped on stage and said, "मेरे साथ अपना photo लो, आप लो." After you take it, you're like, "अच्छा नहीं लिया, एक और लो." It's like, buzz off.
Who was this actor? Offline bata de. You tell us later so we can visualize it.
But I'm
properly.
saying this is what is happening, right?
Mm.
Wherever you go,
You have to chronicle it.
someone needs to witness कि मैं इनसे मिली थी या मैंने ये किया था.
Haan.
You're like, बस हो गया बहुत. It's
Listen,
enough.
But you were talking about, before we wind up, I know you have to go. You were talking about why cringe is prospering and thriving.
Because I think they don't
Shame.
have these internal dialogues with themselves. They just do it. They just do what they feel like in that moment. It feels right.
So
We sit and we break it down in our heads. And we also, the funny thing is that if you examine it a little more closely, and if you were to be so honest with yourself, you're clearly the more judgmental person.
Haan,
right?
we
You
didn't
may
deny-
call it-
we
you may
have
call
this
it
podcast-
discerning.
We have
We
this
have a-
podcast
we are
because we're
very
judgmental
judgmental.
people.
I'm saying you can call it discerning, but actually what you're doing is being judgmental, saying, ew.
Yeah, it's true.
They're like, nahi bhai, I am, this is who I am.
it's my authentic self.
And you have to applaud it. I think I always say, I wish I had this person's courage because I think they're brave. I am just constantly tying myself up saying, nahi, I can't be caught seeing this because I will view it from a place of judgment.
Yeah,
So there are filters on our photographs, but no filters in our head.
At all.
yeah.
At all.
That's
Yeah.
what we've become.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Kiran. It could not have been put better. I really feel that we're so lost. And I mean this globally. We're so lost that someone needs to just make us meet ourselves again. We don't
Yeah.
know who we
That's
are.
such a lovely line.
Yeah.
We don't know what we say. When you ask yourself, when I was 20 years old and you put up such a beautiful post, it was so nice
Which one? I missed
about
it.
the 19-year-old. And it was so, I just felt that I'm so glad you thought back that far and you could remember her, what her 19-year-old, what she would tell
The
Oh, her
19-year-old.
19-year-old. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
old
Yeah,
self.
yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
that, to be, I don't think people remember what they eat for breakfast now. And I do so many mindfulness meditation classes where I ask people, can you recount your day for me? Nobody knows
Mm.
how they started and how they got to this point.
No, but
Mm.
we
Because it's
remember-
all autopilot.
We remember what memes you've seen.
Yeah, yeah.
That we remember.
We remember that.
We won't remember breakfast.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That, like you said, we're hoping someone else will witness our life, but we're forgetting to witness our own.
That's true.
Lovely.
That's really.
Should we
What a,
wind?
what a lovely line.
Lovely
to
line to
to wind
close.
up on.
Chalo, done.
Thank
This
you.
is really nice, man. तू किताब लिख जल्दी से.
हाँ.
Couples को ढूंढ रही है.
मैं couples तो है बहुत सारे. I
बहुत
have a
सारे.
whole section of sweethearts.
2 minutes spend like 10 minutes.
Huh?
Those 2 minutes spend like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
मैं
but 2 minutes felt, the 2 minutes really expand.
वही
and
तो
they
मैं
get
बोल
very
रही हूँ.
heavy.
2 minutes blank felt shorter. Feels shorter. 2
But
minutes.
you know,
Right.
it used to be so funny because during our ABT classes, every morning when we reached, we used to be made to sit and you had to maintain 5 minutes of silence. And you were sitting in a full class and you could see all the fidgety people, but no judgment because it takes a lot of time for the body to become still.
But we were talking about Buddhist and Eastern
studied, no?
philosophy
She
today.
studied.
Today, I had a very weird day. In the morning, I got into like a Shravan and Zara and I got into an argument. They're both in Dubai, and I was just agitated because I was ethically, morally right, and then whatever. And it didn't concern me, so it wasn't about my ego. I keep asking myself, are you responding from ego? I was responding, so okay. And then I was agitated. So even while doing my little gym thing today, my mind was just, you don't want harmony in your life.
Yeah, yeah.
And then suddenly I told myself that my dad used to say this, and we've read this, that when a river is flowing and somebody throws kachara in it, what happens? It doesn't change its course.
Yeah.
No. So
It
just,
goes around it.
so basically, like, I was trying to tell myself that you be equanimous, whatever is happening outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are not the weather.
Yeah.
You are not the thoughts.
Yeah,
You are not
yeah.
the agitation. This is all karma playing out. Okay. So you stay unruffled by it. Things will resolve themselves when they have to, but just step back from it. Okay. There's a circus, but you're not actually part of this circus. Okay.
True.
And the minute I said that to myself, I felt calm immediately. So I'm just saying that, like, you applied your philosophy to your 3 months of being bedridden. Okay. Ultimately, all this is only for ourselves, to make our own lives easier.
Exactly. So I think one of the nicest lessons that I learned from my teacher during my Buddhist psychology course was that we all understand that life is suffering. And our purpose is to reduce our suffering and hopefully help others reduce their suffering too. And if at any point, she said that if you think you are not capable of reducing someone else's suffering, at least don't add to it. And that's a lovely thing to help you take the right moves in life. Is that what I'm going to do? Is this going to add to someone's suffering? So simple things, when you're on a road in a traffic jam, honking, screaming, giving galis, which I also do. In that moment, am I adding more stress into this already chaotic place? Yes, I am. So be quiet. The traffic will move when it moves.
But we are such an angry people right now.
You know, I
Yeah,
think that in public
everyone.
spaces, it's still easy. I think that this thing about suffering, supposing my mom and I, or my sister and I, or my daughter and I
Yeah.
are discussing something and they're saying something which is sounding terribly wrong. Okay. And either I can move away from there and say, yeah, okay, jo bolna hai bolo. But sometimes what they're saying will have consequences for another person.
Yeah.
Right? Supposing Kiran has pulled a favor for me and placed my daughter in a job.
Yeah.
And my daughter is telling me before joining, बोली मुझे नहीं अच्छा लगा तो मैं quit कर दूंगी. Then I'm telling her, but तुम्हारे लिए favor pull किया है किसी ने. And then she gets into an argument with me and I
Yeah.
tell her off. So I've caused her suffering, na?
True.
But that is inescapable.
No, so here's the thing. I feel also, again,
That's
there's
righteousness.
another very important thing called discernment,
Ah.
right? It's not black and white. We know, now you can't say, I will never say an untoward word to someone. If my daughter says something ghastly to me,
So you will have
I
to
will
do it.
check
Have
her.
to. Yeah.
I will check her. The point is, can I do it in a way that will not add to her suffering? There's always, so here's something which I try to tell myself is whatever you do, try and do it better. That's it. There's always a better way. Find it for everything. And I will literally, give away my life if someone tells me, no, this is the only way. There is always a better way for everything.
Beautiful.
The point is, again, convenience. What is the fastest way
Also,
to get there?
because we are not pausing before we are reacting.
Which we shouldn't be doing. We have to respond. We shouldn't be reacting to
Reacting.
things. You have to respond
Yeah,
to things.
I know, but we are
Right?
mostly only reacting.
We're only reacting and we're
I am
always
always reacting.
we're also always reacting from a place of ego. तेरी हिम्मत कैसे हुई मुझे ये बोलने की?
Uh-huh.
Why my view is being challenged?
That is because of this whole lifestyle. I don't know, lifestyle is not the right word. This whole idea that we are paramount.
Yeah.
The I is paramount.
And that's Western psychology for you.
वही
I
तो.
saw a very lovely meme. I'm coming back to memes. Somebody said
You're spending a lot of time online, Kiran.
I'm sending you lovely DMs also of all the half-naked women. I was saging the house to cleanse it of demons.
Yeah.
And I fainted.
What do you mean?
No, not me. That was a meme.
Oh, nice. But in your case, it's also possible.
Also possible. Let's look at her. So now you know, na? Why the
नहीं, नहीं, मेरी तो
door was falling
demons in your
again.
house. Demons in your house.
Demons.